Election. Senate President, as we've discussed, has bottled up the redistricting bill that the governor would like to see approved. The governor has a lot of cards to play. He's got national political figures leaning on the Senate president to move the bill. For the most part, the Democratic Senate coalition seems to be holding as we await the governor's introduction. And another factor in this whole dispute is the clock, because the filing deadline for the upcoming primary election is 2 weeks from yesterday. And if the legislature is going to move a bill, if the Senate's going to move it, might make some changes to it, time is beginning to run short.
And that is the way it usually is. And I think at this point, again, there's absolutely no discussion of it on the Senate side, except from, like, Senator Ellis, who has taken his stand in the Senate. And from Charles County, where he was registering his unhappiness with the fact that the president of the Senate will not bring the bill out for a vote.
Senator Lamb, Howard County, I believe, has weighed in supporting Senator Ellis. I believe there are 34 Democrats in the state Senate. Two basically supporting a change in the leadership of the Senate wouldn't make that much difference. But if the number gets much higher, it becomes a threat. And we have seen, it's been 50 years, but we've seen a leader of the state Senate deposed. It was not mid-session. We can't talk about the governor in the last couple of seconds without talking about his national political profile. He's on the Sunday network talk shows all the time, widely rumored to be interested in running for president, but consistently declines any national ambitions at this point.
He's not showing his hand at this point other than to say, nope, not interested.
And now the governor of Maryland, Governor Wes Moore.
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. This is my fourth state of the state while serving as governor of the state of Maryland. But there is definitely something different about this moment, because over my left shoulder is House Speaker Jocelyn Pena Melnick. She is the first Afro-Latina to serve as Speaker of the House of Delegates. And importantly, she's someone who understands that making history isn't the assignment. Making life better for all Marylanders is. It's the example that was set by her predecessor, Speaker Emerita Adrienne Jones. And when you consider the legacy of these two public servants, you will see a common thread. That thread is they always put Maryland first. And the same goes for Senate President Bill Ferguson. The same goes for Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller. The same goes for Comptroller Brooke Learman. The same goes for Treasurer Derek Davis. The same goes for Attorney General Anthony Brown. The same goes for your former colleague, Senator, and now our Secretary of State, Susan Lee. The same goes for all the members of my cabinet. All of our partners at the local and federal levels, and all the members in this chamber in both the House and the Senate. The same goes for all of your loved ones. And I want to thank my dearest loved one, the partner in my life and my best friend, and our state's First Lady, Dawn Moore. Now, 3 years ago, we swore an oath. And the oath was to fight on behalf of the people of this state. That we would fight for the family that was struggling to get by. We'd fight for the worker who deserves a raise and a fair wage for their labor. We'd fight for the car mechanic in St. Mary's. We would fight for the restaurant owner in Lonaconing. That we'd fight for the teacher in Baltimore. And we'd fight for the farmer in the Eastern Shore. Now, I cannot and I will not stand here and tell you that I've gotten it all right. I'm more self-aware than the President of the United States. I would not give myself an A++++. Many of us met on my first day when I was the governor. It's taken time to build relationships. It's taken time to learn Annapolis. I am an outsider at heart, and I don't see that changing. I know I have not always made life easy for the House or for the Senate. And I know that there are times when you have not made life easy on each other. And you know what? That's okay. Because that's democracy. It's messy, it's combative, it's complicated, and it's worth fighting for. That is not a flaw. That is a feature. And it's what we're doing right now. Now, a few months ago, I reestablished the Governor's Redistricting Advisory Commission because at a time when other states were having a discussion about mid-decade redistricting, I said that Maryland needs to be a part of that conversation. And after months of work, the commission presented its recommendation, and the House of Delegates debated it. They made adjustments, and then they passed the map. Now, I know there is disagreement right now between the House and members of the Senate. So my ask is simple. Do not let the democratic process die in the free state. Debate it, discuss it, make adjustments if necessary, and put it to a vote. Because that's how we settle our differences in Maryland. We battle ideas right in this building, oftentimes passionately, and then we go across the street, we share a drink at Harry Brown's, and we get back to work. Unlike Washington, we actually have to balance budgets. We have to make sure that our people are safe. We need to make sure we're looking after our communities. That here we have big goals like ending child poverty in the state of Maryland. And here we do things that we think are important, like keeping our government open. Now, I know there's been some discussion about a very principled disagreement that I have with the Senate President on redistricting. We diverge on this particular issue. But we both care about the future of our state. We both care about the future of our people. And we are going to continue to work together on the issues that we care about most because our people are counting on us. Marylanders are seeing firsthand how this White House agenda is making their lives worse. Because just in the past year, the federal government has fired around 25,000 Marylanders who have federal jobs in our state alone. Our neighbors, our friends, our family. It's the biggest federal job cut of any state in the country, where the president's domestic policy agenda could kick up to 180,000 Marylanders off of health care. More than 680,000 Marylanders could see their food assistance taken away. That includes seniors. That includes veterans. That includes our children. Washington is using this moment to attack and to limit and to retreat. So in Maryland, we will use this moment to protect, deliver, and lead. We will protect our people from the worst of Washington's cruelty. We will deliver the kind of results that people can actually feel in their homes and feel in their communities. And we will lead our state and our people unapologetically in a way that inspires them to help move Maryland forward. Protect, deliver, and lead. That's the assignment. And that's what I want to talk about today. And we already know how to do it. I know that because you can just look at the last 3 years. When we took office, Maryland's economy was stagnant. So we focused on making Maryland the best place in the world to change the world. We cut the red tape. We launched programs to get liquidity in the hands of entrepreneurs. We invested in our public schools, invested in our universities, invested in our community colleges, and we built pathways to good careers, like our first in the nation service year option here in the state of Maryland. We partnered with unions and trades and employers to graduate over 5,000 apprentices and are going to be graduating 4,000 high schoolers with registered apprenticeships each year by the end of my second term. Since we took office, our policies have helped to create nearly 100,000 new jobs, and Maryland has seen over 35,000 new businesses open in our state. Since we took office, our state suffered from a crisis in violence. Even more dangerous, we suffered of a crisis of apathy to the violence. The pain was no longer piercing. It was chronic. Baltimore was averaging almost a murder a day. Maryland families from the western mountains to the eastern shore did not feel safe in their communities. So we worked with our leaders, with fantastic city leaders like Mayor Scott in Baltimore. We work with state leaders like Chair Smith and Chair Bartlett. We work with members of our federal delegation. We bridge the gaps between police and prosecutors. We build strong bonds between community leaders and elected officials. We launched the Enough Initiative, so we can work hand in hand with community schools and surge funding to neighborhoods most affected by intergenerational poverty, because here is the fact: you cannot address violent crime if you aren't addressing the failed conditions in the communities where the violence is living at. And the results? Homicides are down nearly 50% statewide, and we are delivering historic drops in crime in every single corner of the state. And in fact, the last time the homicide rate was this low in Baltimore, I was not born yet. When we took office, the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home was in a state of complete disrepair and moral decay. The staff was abusing veterans. The facility earned a 1-star rating from the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. So we rallied veterans and lawmakers and the Board of Public Works and our Department of Veterans and Military Families to ensure that we were working together to turn Charlotte Hall around. And I'm very proud to announce that Charlotte Hall has gone from a 1-star rated facility to a 4-star rated facility. And we're not done, because we can and we will get that to a 5-star rated facility. Our veterans need it and deserve it, and we are going to produce it for them. And today we're joined by 2 administrators at Charlotte Hall who are going to help us get it there. They've been on the front lines of making sure that when we say thank you for your service, it should actually mean something. Could Emily and Doreen please stand up so we can give you a round of applause for your work? So look, I know a lot of people like to talk about how powerful the federal government is. But I need you to remember how powerful we are. State leaders, citizens, people who love our communities, and people who just simply want to make them better. Because when we work together, we can actually deliver change. We've reformed the procurement process, cut wait times to receive a state contract from months to weeks, and advanced over $4.3 billion in procurement awards to certified minority-owned and disadvantaged businesses. We've expanded child care access by 70% to support over 41,000 children. We've cut overdose deaths every single year we've been in office. And we brought them down to a 10-year low. We've cut roadway fatalities by 18%. It's the first time annual roadway fatalities have fallen below 500 in a decade. And I want to give a special shout out to our amazing Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller for her work to make Maryland's roads safer. So we've delivered enormous progress together. But there's still work to do. First, we need to protect our people from the damage that is being caused by this federal administration. This year, Maryland is filling the $40 million gap in SNAP funding created by Donald Trump's domestic policy agenda. It's going to help ensure that children and seniors and people with disabilities who rely on nutritional assistance do not go hungry. We have proposed $14 billion for the state's Medicaid program. It provides health care for over 1.4 million Marylanders. And we've made these investments without compromising fiscal discipline. For the fourth year in a row, we are going to prove that we can do more with less. So once again, I've introduced a balanced budget with a general fund that is smaller than the previous year. And in a moment when prices are going up on everything, our proposed budget does not raise taxes or fees on the people of this state. And as we work to finalize this budget in Annapolis, we're going to continue to be out with the people, the ones who got us here in the first place, the people in your communities. Where last month, I stood with doctors and nurses at the University of Maryland Capital Regional Medical Center in Prince George's County. Washington, they told us, is making their jobs harder because the federal government went from data-driven research to choose-your-own-adventure. So this year, I've introduced legislation to decouple the state's vaccine authority from the federal government's because our vaccine policy will be led by science and not by internet conspiracy theories. This is not about an ideology. It's about protecting our people. Giving the same support to our people that we want to give to our own family members. We will protect them no matter where they call home and no matter how they voted in the last election. And it's a philosophy that I wish the Trump-Vance administration understood. Because when towns in Allegheny and Garrett counties were hit by historic flooding, many in this chamber were some of the first boots on the ground. We stood with Senator McKay. We stood with Delegate Heinbaugh. And together we asked the federal government to help us recover. And they said no. I appealed the decision directly to the President of the United States. And I let him know the area that he was neglecting was one that mainly voted for him. And again, his answer was no. So Maryland stepped up. And so this year, I have proposed $12 million to support flood recovery efforts in Allegheny County, and that includes $1 million to rebuild the Western Port Library. When our people are in trouble, we're going to help them. And their party affiliation does not matter. If they are Marylanders, they're good. I went to Western Maryland immediately after the storm. And the person who was by my side every single step of the way was Mayor Judy Hamilton. Mayor Judy is the mayor of Westernport. Mayor Judy Mayor Judy is a Republican. I am not. Breaking news. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that we're Marylanders. Judy's in the gallery today. And Judy, it was an honor to watch you lead. And I want to say to you and all the people of Westernport and all the people of Western Maryland, we have your back today, we have your back tomorrow, and we will have your back always. God bless you and thank you. So we're also very clear it will not be enough just to simply spend all of our time pushing back on Washington. We've got to push forward. We know the biggest concern for Maryland is rising costs. Since this time last year, energy prices are now up 13%. The price of beef is up 19%. The price of fertilizer is up 15%. And I just want to be clear, that's not in Maryland. That's nationwide. Those are the numbers across the country. Now, we can't control federal tariff policy, but we will work together to contain prices where we can, to grow our economy because we must, and build new pathways to work and wages and wealth. So as prices go up, we know that this should not be a generational catastrophe for our people. Last year, we worked together to provide $200 million in direct energy rebates to help Marylanders who are struggling. And this year, I've introduced legislation to build on that foundation with an additional $100 million in energy rebates. That is $100 million that's going directly back into the pockets of hardworking Marylanders who need it now. But we still have more work to do. And to all Marylanders who are concerned about skyrocketing energy prices, I'm here to say with a loud and a collective voice, we hear you. And help is on the way. That this year, let's work together to build a thriving energy market that gets more energy to the grid, that adds more jobs to the economy, and puts more money back in the pockets of working families. Let's make sure we're doing it right here in Maryland, too, so we don't need to rely on other states to keep our lights on. It's time to double down on solar and wind and energy storage because that's where the jobs are and that's where many of the shovel-ready projects are as well. The Maryland Energy Administration's Community Solar Program is already helping to add 78 megawatts of solar to the grid. It's going to cut utility bills for at least 10,500 low and moderate income Marylanders. So now, we just got to scale it up. We also need to continue building a diverse energy portfolio that takes an all-of-the-above approach, and that includes assets like natural gas and nuclear power, because we need more energy and we need it now. But this cannot fall on our shoulders alone. Let's ensure that energy and utility companies are just as worried about Maryland families as they are about their shareholders. And last month, I led a coalition of Democratic and Republican governors to the White House to sign a statement of principles calling for energy reform. We are calling on the grid operator PJM to cap the price of energy for the next 2 years. We are also calling on them to incentivize new power generation and ensure that data centers will cover the price tag when they strain the grid. And today, I am announcing that in order to receive my support, new data center projects must hire local workers, they must engage local governments and communities, and they must cover the cost of their own power needs. We are not going to choose between affordability and innovation. We can and we will lead in both. Because the world is changing fast. And we need to change with it. A few years ago, AI could barely put together a coherent sentence. And today, just to prove a point, I wrote this entire speech in ChatGPT. I'm just playing. I ain't do that. But we are still figuring out both the power and the peril of artificial intelligence. It can feel scary. And that's why we need a broad-based strategy. Not just for government, but for all of society. So first, we need to make sure that our workers are not being left behind by AI. Maryland's labor movement understands this. They understand that we can't stop technology. They just want to make sure that our workers are being supported and not supplanted. So today, I am proud to announce that Maryland is investing $4 million to give our workers hands-on training to succeed in the AI economy so they are not left behind. But we cannot do this alone. We need employers and workers at the table to help design these programs and build the pipelines to opportunities. Annapolis can help lead the way, but I'm calling on our entire state to get involved inside of this work. Second, we must use AI to better serve the public. Maryland is leading on this issue. AI will soon be used to help Marylanders navigate SNAP, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, and child care subsidies. Leaders are taking notice, foundations are stepping up, and we are partnering with them to prove that government can use AI to deliver better results. And third, we must ensure that AI is a tool to drive economic growth. AI companies want to move to Maryland because we have some of the best universities and research institutions in the world. And since we have the assets, they will bring the jobs. This technology can also help us lift the dreams of the small business owner. And it must. With the support of Bloomberg Philanthropies, our innovation team launched a new AI-powered tool to help entrepreneurs navigate this labyrinth of data, grant programs, and support resources that can make starting a business just a little bit easier. It's a case study on how we can use AI to make opportunity more accessible and not less accessible. Those are the three pillars. Support our workers, better serve the public, and make sure that Maryland benefits from the economic growth. AI is going to help us to grow and diversify Maryland's economy. And our focus on this new technology is part of a broader economic agenda to uplift three lighthouse industries that Maryland is uniquely positioned to win at: IT, life sciences, and aerospace and defense. And here's the thing, our strategy is working. In 3 years, we have attracted more than $10 billion in private investment to the state of Maryland. We've secured new partnerships with Microsoft to build our $1 billion Capital of Quantum initiative. South Korea's largest biotech company is building its first American manufacturing facility in the United States, here in the state of Maryland. The pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca has made the single largest private capital investment in our state's history. Their $2 billion commitment will create 2,600 jobs in Frederick and Montgomery counties. We are also very proud that National Harbor will become the third location for the new Sphere performance venue in the world, right after Vegas and Abu Dhabi. It is going to create and generate more than $1 billion in economic activity every single year when it is completed. And each of these projects happened because industry chose Maryland. And I want to thank the Sphere team. I also want to recognize two partners who have been a driving force behind the Sphere project. County Executive Aisha Braveboy and John Peterson, whose company owns National Harbor. Congratulations and well done. We will not lose sleep over how other states are moving. Let's make sure they lose sleep over how we're moving. When we grow our economy, people will want to move here and live here. And we're already seeing what that looks like. Maryland's population is growing faster now than it has in a decade, and that is a good thing. More people are choosing Maryland, and that is a good thing. Yet, we need a housing supply that matches our aspirations. We cannot and we will not get there by simply capping prices and praying for the best. That is neither sustainable nor smart. The solution is simple and it is singular. We need to build. Last fiscal year, we provided funding to build 4,000 new rental housing units. That's the highest level of production supported by the state of Maryland since the COVID pandemic. This year, we are continuing to focus on housing as a pathway to opportunity, both for individuals, but also for our entire economy. A keystone of my legislative agenda is the Maryland Transit and Housing Opportunity Act of 2026. And the idea is simple. Marylanders should be able to get from where they live to where they work. So let's build more housing near transit. And let's invest in transportation that connects people with opportunity. So recently, I sat down with U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and we both agree that building big, great things shouldn't be impossible in America. And I'm talking about projects like the American Legion Bridge. I'm talking like projects like the rebuild of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is currently the fastest large rebuild in the United States. That we will continue to partner with anyone who is willing to advance the interests of the people of Maryland. You've seen us firsthand in your districts, making transit and bridges and roads and tunnels and working together to make sure that they are safer and cleaner and stronger. I'm talking about projects like I-81 and US 15. I'm talking about safety enhancements along 97 and Maryland 5. I'm talking about our historic $1.4 billion project to modernize Baltimore's light rail system. This is what it means to actually deliver. So we're delivering on energy reform, even when Washington tries to cut clean energy projects. We're delivering on economic development and diversification, even when Washington slashes our legacy economic foundations. At a time when the president is tearing apart the Department of Education, Maryland is delivering on our promise to have the best public schools in the entire country. And that work is being led by a very important Marylander who goes by many names. Some of you know her as the architect of the Mississippi Miracle. Many people call her the LeBron James of K-12 education. And it's not because she's 6'8". It's because she's outstanding. I am talking about our superintendent of schools, Dr. Carrie Wright. Under Carrie's leadership, almost every single grade is making marked improvements in the fundamentals of both reading and math. Maryland's public schools have improved for 3 years in a row. Our graduation rates are up, and Maryland is quickly becoming a national leader in early literacy, jumping 20 slots in national rankings in just 2 years. And one of the reasons we've been able to deliver such strong results is by focusing on teacher recruitment. In 3 years, we have cut the teacher vacancy rate in half. Today, we are joined by 3 Marylanders who embody the promise of recruiting the best educator workforce in the world. Danielle Crankfield is a high school counselor with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. She's on the front lines of providing support and guidance and mentorship to the students at Crofton High. Alana Seward-Prieur is an elementary school teacher in Frederick. By the way, she doesn't just teach in the county, she knows the county. Because Alana received both her bachelor's and her master's degree from Hood College. Dr. Ryan Dorr is the principal of Meade High School in Anne Arundel County. He is committed to academic excellence and has increased English language arts scores by 13 points. So I would like to give a big round of applause to Danielle, to Ryan, and to Alana, our National School Counselor of the Year, our Maryland High School Principal of the Year, and our Maryland Teacher of the Year. My mother always said that if you always remember who you're fighting for, you'll never stop fighting for them. So let's keep fighting for both Maryland students and our educators. Where this year we are proposing a historic $10 billion for our public schools. These are targeted investments that will deliver real results in our communities. The foundation of our approach is a new academic excellence program. Any good teacher will tell you that learning is a lifelong pursuit. We build a Tiger team of academic coaches. They're going to help make sure that Maryland educators have the tools, the lessons, and the resources that they need to make our classrooms the best in the entire country. Because I want every single one of our students to be career ready before they even get a high school diploma. And when young Marylanders walk across a graduation stage, I want them to know that our state is incomplete without them. Whether they were born here or born halfway across the world. When we think about how Maryland needs to lead in this moment, we need to think about how we're standing with our immigrant communities as well. Many Marylanders are terrified. They're worried about getting detained when they show up for work. They're worried about whether or not federal agents are waiting for them when they drop their kids off at school. Let me say this very plainly. Maryland is a state of immigrants, and that is not our weakness, that is our strength. Nearly 1 in 5 Marylanders was born in another country. Our Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller, came to America from India when she was 7. I stand here as the son of an immigrant single mom. She came here as a child with a Jamaican accent. And now she gets to watch her son serve as governor of a state that he loves. I want to thank you all for introducing legislation to protect Marylanders from the unconstitutional actions of some federal agents this session. Working together, I am confident that we can take meaningful steps to hold federal agents accountable for violating the Constitution and help those who have been harmed to make sure they also get their justice. The people of this state have come to learn that I have no patience nor tolerance for violent offenders. And our extraordinary men and women in Maryland law enforcement will continue to work with federal officials when it comes to getting violent criminals off of our streets. But they will always follow the Constitution. We also need to make sure we're stopping bad actors from preying on immigrants in our communities, like con men who are posing like immigration officials, and grifters who are charging for phony legal advice. And I want to give a big thank you to our Attorney General, Anthony Brown, for agreeing to work with us on this priority. Mr. Attorney General, thank you for your leadership. And today, I am also proud to announce the launch of Citizenship Maryland. It brings together law firms, the private sector, and unions to make sure that Marylanders who are eligible for citizenship know that they are and can get the supports that they need. It's about helping our teachers and our nurses. It's about helping our National Guard members and our permanent residents, the people who help to keep us fed, the people who are running small businesses, the people who look after our children, the people who are looking after our parents. It's about helping the 150,000 Marylanders who just need a little extra support to get their American citizenship. They are our neighbors, they are our friends, they are our fellow Marylanders. I'm talking about people like Daniel Omar Fuentes Espinal. Pastor Omar fled Honduras 24 years ago to escape poverty and violence. He built a life here. He built a beautiful family here. And he stepped up to serve as pastor at a church in the Eastern Shore, Iglesia del Nazareño Jesús de Tamá. In the spring, Pastor Omar watched his son graduate from high school and also gave the eulogy of one of his son's best friends, all within a matter of weeks. And then soon after that, Pastor Omar was abducted and detained by ICE. They took him from his family. They put him in a detention facility in Louisiana, thousands of miles from home. But the community stepped up. They fought for his release. And Pastor Omar is here with us today. Pastor Omar. Pastor Omar, siempre serás bienvenido a Maryland. Ahora y siempre, Dios lo bendiga. You are always welcome in Maryland, now and always, and God bless you. Maryland is a mosaic of backgrounds and cultures, guys. That's been true for 250 years. And over the next 11 months, we are going to celebrate that history. Today, we are joined by Michelle Johnson, who is the director of the Maryland 250 Commission. She is the granddaughter of immigrants, a first-generation college graduate, and she's dedicated her entire life to helping young people chase their dreams. And she's helping us tell Maryland's story. Maryland's is a story that is deeply uneven. We are the northernmost southern state in this country. We are the site of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. That was not in Tennessee, nor Alabama, nor South Carolina. It was actually in Maryland. Enslaved people built this Capitol dome. And listen, I love our flag, and to be clear, it ain't changing. But neither are the facts. Our flag is, by definition, a contradiction. A combination of symbols and ideas that were diametrically opposed. A contradiction. In the case of our flag, one during the Civil War. And that's not a bad thing. It's just simply a reminder that Maryland is complicated. And some that are twisting the truth to divide us and other us, using a symbol that we all love, because they know that when we stand together, Maryland cannot lose. Every time our nation has been tested, our state has answered that challenge with strength. It's Marylanders, like William Williams, who was born into slavery in 1793, but he escaped bondage, defended America in the Battle of Baltimore, and fought for our nation's freedom, even if our nation was not willing to fight for his. It's Marylanders, like Augustus Bradford, my predecessor, who was the governor of Maryland during the Civil War. In the middle of the night, raiders burned his house to the ground because he wouldn't join the Confederacy. But Maryland held the line, and the Union won the war. It's Marylanders, like Gwendolyn Green. She rallied with students from Howard University, Maryland's 5th HBCU, and staged a protest in Glen-Echo Park on June 30th, 1960. The park was whites only. Green was arrested, but her courage emboldened civil rights leaders around the country. In fact, so much that 4 years later, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law. And I know many in this chamber probably know her by a different name. It's the name that sits below her portrait in the Miller Office Building. I'm talking about the late, great Senator Carolyn Britt. Gwendolyn Britt. I apologize, Gwendolyn Britt. I just got fact-checked from both sides. ChatGPT wouldn't have caught that. The story of Maryland is a story of courage. It's a story of courage in the face of hardship. It's a willingness to do what's difficult. It's a faith that service does matter. It's a tradition that continues to this day. It continues in the scientists who helped us to discover the COVID-19 vaccine, in the federal workers who helped to keep our food safe and who helped to keep our planes in the air, in the engineers who built a telescope that can see planets 13 billion light years away. It's the courage of the 4 Maryland Olympians who right now are representing our country overseas. This moment has found all of us. We have been building toward it not for the past 3 years, but for the past 250. It's a moment that will set the stage for the next 250 years to come. And together, if we stay true to the spirit of our people, if we stay true to our state, if we protect, if we deliver, and if we lead, I know we will build a kind of future that those who came before us fought for, and those who come after us that they deserve. So thank you for your work and all you do. Let's keep up the work, keep up the faith, and let's make sure we leave no one behind inside of this process. Thank you so much, everybody.
Do you see how beautiful they are? Perfect every bite. Everything at Baked by Melissa is made entirely by hand, which is actually crazy. We use the best ingredients ever. Like Hershey's fudge and Oreo cookies. Chocolate chip pancake tastes more like a pancake than a cupcake. It's cookie dough. Do you eat your cupcakes in 1 bite or 2? Go to bakedbymelissa.com and order yours today.
I like learning. I walk the next time just started being
Just send the sky all up. They're close. You can see the Capitol. Yes, sir. They're live video. They've sent it back.
And you gotta be the GPS never keeps up with the right lanes.
Yeah. You're not gonna be able to see. I'm on my tippy toes and I know. I think you get real good at it. Like living in Grand Rapids before Michigan City. I got used to it.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I know my way around Baltimore.
But look, okay, come right here. Yeah, you know the right lane. You know how to
Yeah, so do we. Baltimore. He's got to think that she's
It's pretty
warm here.
Yeah, we think it'll be 50 is warm for us. It was negative.